quietly entered his brother's hut and, in a fit of rage, took Juma's life. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests in Africa, lived two brothers named Juma and Kofi. They were the sons of a respected farmer, and though they shared the same blood, their lives were as different as day and night. Juma was the elder of the two, a boy with a kind heart and a gentle spirit. Kofi, the younger brother, was not as fortunate. He was plagued by jealousy and always compared himself to Juma. From a young age, Kofi envied Juma's natural charm and the respect he earned from their father and the villagers. As children, Juma and Kofi were often playing together, but Kofi's jealousy would sometimes surface. Whenever Juma won a game or received praise, Kofi would sulk or argue. Their father, sensing Kofi's discontent, would often tell him, "Kofi, my son, learn to be content with what you have. Jealousy will only lead you to darkness." As they grew older, the differences between the two brothers became more pronounced. Juma was hardworking and well-liked, often helping the villagers with their tasks. Kofi, however, was often idle, finding fault in others and never quite satisfied with his own achievements. One day, the village celebrated a festival. It was a grand occasion with music, dancing, and delicious food. Juma, as usual, was at the center of the festivities, helping to organize and entertain. Kofi watched from the sideline, his heart heavy with envy. It was during this festival that Kofi met a beautiful young woman named Aisha. She had recently moved to the village and was known for her grace and beauty. Kofi was immediately smitten and decided that he would marry her. However, he soon discovered that Aisha has taken a liking to Juma. Despite his effort, Kofi could not win her affection. Years passed and Juma and Aisha grew close. They eventually married, and their happiness was a source of joy for the entire village. Kofi, on the other hand, remained single, his jealousy festering with each passing day. He watched in silence as his brother lived a life he could only dream of. Kofi's envy grew to a dangerous level. He could not bear to see his brother happy while he remained alone. One day, as he was walking through the village, he overheard a conversation about a powerful native doctor who could make one's wish come true. Kofi saw this as his chance to change his fate. Kofi visited the native doctor, a wise old man who lived on the outskirts of the village. The doctor, knowing Kofi's dark intentions, warned him, "The charm I give you will only work if you follow my instructions carefully. If not, it will bring you great misfortune." Kofi was desperate and promised to follow the instructions. The native doctor gave him a special charm and told him to keep it dry and never let it touch rain. Kofi eagerly took the charm and set off for home, determined to use it to win Aisha for himself. As Kofi walked home, he was filled with thoughts of his brother's death and how he would take over Juma's place as Aisha's husband. The charm was safely stocked away in his bag, and Kofi felt a satisfaction. However, as he was walking, dark cloud gathered overhead. Rain began to fall heavily. Kofi tried to shake the charm, but the rain was relentless. He ran as fast as he could, but it was too late. The charm had touched the rain. When he finally reached home, Kofi was frantic. He had forgotten the native doctor's warning. The charm, which was supposed to help him, had now become a source of his doom. Desperation took hold of him as he raced to find Aisha and put his plan into action. That night, Kofi waited for Juma to fall asleep. He quietly entered his brother's hut and, in a fit of rage, took Juma's life. His heart was pounding and he was consumed by guilt and fear. He hurried to Aisha's hut, determined to use the charm to win her over. Aisha was horrified to find her husband dead and Kofi standing over him. She refused to even look at him, let alone accept him. Kofi tried to persuade her, using every charm and trick he knew, but Aisha was resolute. In the midst of his desperate pleas, Kofi began to feel strange. His thoughts became disordered, and he could no longer think clearly. The charm, now tainted by the rain, had turned against him. He fell to his knees, confessing his deeds in a state of madness. The village soon learned of the terrible events, Kofi's actions, and the strange behavior he displayed after the rain made it clear that he was suffering from a curse. The villagers were shocked and mourned the loss of Juma, whom they had loved dearly. They could not bear to see the madness consuming Kofi and decided that he was no longer welcome in their midst. Kofi, now a shadow of his former self, was driven out of the village. He wandered into the wilderness, lost and broken. His jealousy had led him to commit a grave sin, and the curse has taken away his sanity and place in the community. Aisha thought deeply, grieving, eventually found solace in the support of the village and the memories of her beloved Juma. She lived a life dedicated to honoring his memory and helping others, ensuring that his legacy of kindness and respect remained a guiding light for the community. The end of the story.